6 years ago, I looked like this, 100 pounds total, skinny as fuck and weak. Now I weigh around 190 pounds, jacked, confident, and I did it all with calisthenics. And here's my best advice to make this transformation yourself. Before we get into it, if you haven't already checked out my full Jacked by Calisthenics course, it's a full course that teaches you how to get in shape and get jacked with calisthenics. If you want to do it my way and my style, click the top link in the description and I'll hold your hand. And let's do it. So most people on the internet, especially these calisthenics athletes who are basically talking about how to build muscle, they are always talking about some surface level ass shit. They don't really cover the real things that you need to follow in order to become jacked with calisthenics. So today I wanted to just spaz out for like a solid 30 minutes straight without no really fancy edits. I just want to be teaching you what I have learned along the way, and especially this last month, because this last month I've really been trying to learn as much as I physically can about building muscle in general, and now I have done it with calisthenics. So listen, first off, what we're going to be talking about is you have to treat calisthenics like a marathon and not like a sprint. This is something that I also covered in the Jacked by Calisthenics course. Go ahead and get that. And basically what I mean by that is that calisthenics is a sport in and of itself. It's not just a strength training sport. It's not just a way of gaining muscle. It's a real lifestyle and sport that you do, right? So how are we going to be basically stop treating calisthenics like a sprint and start treating it like a marathon? All right, let's talk about it. First off, when we look at each and every single calisthenics exercise that are important to build muscle, right? First off, in my opinion, the most important exercises are the push-up, the dip, the pull-up, some variations of those three, the squats, and elevated pike push-ups, which is just basically a push-up variation. So if we skip the variations, it's basically push-ups, pull-ups, dips, and rows. Those four exercises are basically the exercises that you want to use very frequently, and you want to do variations in those. Now, why should we focus on those exercises in a very long-term type of way? First off, if you're going to treat these exercises like it's a barbell bench press or a lat pull down or a bent over barbell row, you are basically going to not make any progress in this sport. Now, why is that? When we look at how most people progress with the lat pull down, with the bench press, with exercises like that, it basically goes as follows. You start with, let's say, 45 pounds, right? 45 pounds on a lat pull down, a very novice lifter beginner. 45 pounds on a lat pull down. He does 3 sets to 8 to 12, right? That's the general knowledge, right? 3 sets of 8 to 12. He goes to the gym for the first time. He does 3 sets of 8 to 12. Next week, he feels pretty sore because of it. He's done it for the first time. Next week, he comes back, or maybe the second time that week, he comes back. He does 3 sets of 12, but instead of with 45 pounds, he does it right now with 50 pounds or 47 pounds. I'm just naming a weight up, right? He adds, let's say 2.5 kg or 5 pounds to the bar or to the lat pull down machine to be able to keep going and progress like that. Yes, this is very, very effective for weightlifting because this is not really the same with calisthenics. With calisthenics, we have to focus on it like it's a fucking marathon. So we're not going to be able to focus on adding weight to the exercise or adding simply just a rep. Most of the time, it's too hard of an exercise to just add a rep every single workout. It's literally impossible for most beginners, right? Matter of fact, it was impossible for me. For majority of time, I did not actually increase the reps because I simply just couldn't. So for every single beginner out there, and this is my top advice that I could give you right now to be able to progress quickly with calisthenics, is that you need to focus on mastering the exercise, not with adding reps, but with actually becoming comfortable with whatever you're doing right now. So let's say you have been doing 3 sets of 10 pull-ups. That's actually very impressive. Let's just cut it down for a little bit. 3 sets of 5 pull-ups. That's all you can do. That's actually pretty good. For a beginner, that's really good. 3 sets of 5, you can get a lot of progression and gains with that. Let's say you are at that stage right now. The best logical thing to do is not to go to 3 sets of 4 or 4 sets of 5 or do more and more volume. Because if your pull-ups are not actually correct and you're not actually doing them right, doing more volume wouldn't make sense. Because listen, this is what volume is, right? Volume is basically adding more to your workout. It's doing more sets, doing more reps. It's just doing more. Not doing anything better or anything more correct. No, it's just doing more. That's volume. Now, when we look at the quality of pull-ups, we first have to get that down. So when you look at my pull-ups right here on the side, right? I like to do my pull-ups like this. So this is basically what I've been doing for the majority of time, especially to build muscle right now. And I've been doing my pull-ups way differently back, like, years before. But this is right now how I do my pull-ups when I want to build muscle. You first need to get the quality of reps down pat in order from there to increase the volume. So write that down. First, we need to get the quality down pack before we increase the volume. Because if we increase the volume with shit reps, you're just gonna be adding shit to the pile. It's gonna be a bigger pile of shit, right? You wanna first get your pile of pull-ups or pile of whatever type of exercise you do with proper quality of reps so that you can progress with that. So stop saying, oh, I'm pulling up, I'm getting my chin over the bar. Yeah, fine, you're getting your chin over the bar, but that doesn't mean that you should do more volume with the type of reps that you're doing right now. So you need to first improve every single exercise in and of itself when it comes to the form, the quality of reps, the quality of sets, knowing how to actually train, and then adding more volume to progress with volume. And this also goes, of course, the same with weightlifting. But when it comes to a normal lat pull down, you do not have to consider in the fact that you have to keep your legs straight or keep your body in control while you're doing the thing. The only thing you have to do is grab the lat pull down bar and just fucking pull down, get a little bit of arch in there to squeeze that back, and that's it. It's not very hard to learn for most beginners. But when it comes to a pull-up, this takes months, if not years, to master a proper pull-up. Most people who have been training for 12, 15, 20 years can't even do 5 proper or 10 proper calisthenics pull-up reps. The reason why is because they have always been focusing on exercises that are genuinely just easier for our bodies. When it comes to the stabilization, when it comes to how we move, when it comes to the overall pattern of the exercise, it's just more easier for us to learn and to actually get used to. So calisthenics is a marathon and not a sprint. Focus on each and every exercise by mastering the form and the quality of reps first before you actually get into adding more volume. Because once you actually get in more volume, yes, you're gonna make more gains. But if the form of reps is fucking bullshit and you don't even know how to do a proper pull-up, it's just gonna be adding more shit to the volume pile that you have now created for yourself, okay? So form first, volume after. Volume does not matter if your quality of reps are shit. Please remember that. Form, quality of reps comes before adding more volume. All right. Now, second thing, create a routine and stop freestyling. When I say to you that you need to create a routine for yourself that actually, instead of just freestyling your workouts left and right and not actually knowing what to do, you will actually make more progress if you create a routine. Now, why is that? When we look at our body remembers routines and exercises very well, right? If we are going to be going to the gym every single day and we're just going to be doing something different every time, we're going to be starting with a different exercise every time, we're going to be doing different reps every fucking day, different amount of sets, you are not going to make progress. That is because your body is not getting used to anything. And most people on the internet will say, oh, you have to shock your muscles, so you have to do something different every time. Incorrect. Our bodies respond to consistent overload with something that you have been sticking to for a long ass time. Progressive overload and shocking the body does not mean that you should do something completely different every single session. It means that you need to change, in calisthenics at least, change the leverages and change the angles and change the weight that you're actually doing the same type of routine with. For example, very good example. For the past 2 months, I have been implementing weighted ring push-ups. Basically ring training all the way, right? I've been getting so much fucking muscle from it. It's insane. I started with 45-pound weighted push-ups on the rings. It is now 2 months later. And guess what? 1.5. I'm still on 45 pounds. Now you might think like, okay, you're not making progress then. Because if you took 2 months of consistent ring training and you're still at 45 pounds, that means that you're making zero progress. You would be correct if I didn't do what I'm about to tell you right now. And I would actually agree with you. But what I did is I changed the reps. So instead of doing the regular ring push-up every single day, 2 times a week or something, and I would be doing the 45 pounds every single time. 2 months later, yeah, you're right. If I'm still on 45 pounds, I make no progress. But I didn't increase the reps. I actually started increasing the difficulty of the exercise itself. So instead of doing normal ring push-ups every single time, I switched it up to decline ring push-up. I switched it up to opening the rings up even wider so that I can go deeper and get a deeper stretch on my chest. I focused on actually pausing down at the bottom. So I made the exercise difficult every single training session. And sometimes when I found like a really difficult sweet spot, I just stayed on that for like a couple of weeks, get comfortable with it, and then move on to another different variation, difficult variation that is actually hard for me to progress with. That is how I made progress. And I did that by creating a routine, first of all. I didn't do that by just freestyling and going into it blindly. Every single day, and I'll show you this, by the way, in the course, the Jacked by Calisthenics, I have a notebook where I just write down my sets and everything I did every single day. I train 6 days a week right now. I have my chest and back day, I have my arms and shoulders day, sometimes I swap those two, and I have my leg day, and I just basically repeat those workouts constantly, right? And in that workout routine, I note down my sets, I write down how many reps I did, I write down every single week what I can improve next time. And that is only possible when you write down your workouts and when you have a proper routine that you can follow. If you do not have that, how are you going to expect to actually train harder? Yes, you can add more intensity techniques to your freestyle workout. Yes, you can go harder than last time. You may feel like you're going harder, but you don't know if you're actually making progress. And the number one thing that we need to actually realize is, are we making progress or aren't we making progress? If you realize that you aren't making progress, that means that you should rewrite your routine, actually take a look at what the fuck you're doing, and progress with a consistent pattern every single week. Now, if you want to create your routine yourself, when it comes to the training that I do and what type of, exercises I do, everything is laid out. I take your hand in the Jacked by Calisthenics course and I literally plan everything for you. You're going to be sitting there watching these modules. You're going to be writing down what I fucking say, and you will have a consistent routine that you can progress with every single week. Check the top link in the description right now. If you're not in there yet, you're wasting your fucking time because you're jumping from exercise to exercise, routine to routine. In here, we're going to build a routine together and you're going to be actually making progress with the best muscle building exercises available in calisthenics. Go over there right now, start your routine right now, and start gaining muscle. It is not a joke. This is what you should do. I have full trust in this. Go ahead and go there right now, and I'll see you inside. Next topic that we're going to talk about: focus on getting more out of less weight. So this kind of goes back to what we already talked about, that I stayed on the 45-pound ring push-ups. Getting more out of less weight basically means that we should progress with difficulty of exercise instead of weight constantly, right? I created a video, I think a couple of days ago, where I said that home workouts are more effective than the gym, and I stand on that. Why is that? Even my friend who has been going, Matthias, who has been going to the gym for years now, he has seen more progress in the last 2 months of training together in my garden, doing just ring training, weighted and body weight and regular bars, than he has ever seen in his gym career, bro, ever. And the reason why that is because we are working with limited equipment. Now, when you work with limited equipment, what happens? That means that you can no longer switch from routine, switch from exercise selection, or switch from the type of weight that you're using. Let's say you only have 135 pounds. Wait, let me sip this coffee. Let's say you only have 135 pounds at home. 135 pounds is all you're going to do. You're going to get everything out of that 135 pounds that you can. For me, when I want to do, listen, I have quite a bit of weights at home, so I can do a lot of weighted pull-ups with pretty heavy weight. I think the maximum is like 60 kg. I don't need fucking more than that, because all of my variations of pull-ups, I cannot do fucking 60 kg on that for reps because they're difficult. And every single time I find something new in order to progress with without just weight, because the general knowledge is add weight every single week and that's it. But most of you still remain fucking skinny and small and weak because you don't know how to properly progress with other things than weight. If you constantly just progress with weight and weight and weight, listen, you're going to make progress in the first 4 weeks of training, but after a little while, you're going to hit your first plateau. Boom. You're not going to be adding weight no more. Well, should I just take off the load and do more reps? No, that's not going to help you with strength. That's not going to help you at all. What I would recommend is make the exercise more difficult with a little less weight. Stick to whatever type of weight you got at home or whatever type of weight you hold yourself accountable to in the gym, and say, I'm not going to increase the weight this time. I'm going to actually perform the exercise better, not just going heavier and using different muscles that I'm supposed to. I'm just going to go and make the exercise difficult and make myself better at this certain exercise. Now, what do I mean with better? For example, that example that I showed you like a little while ago, right? Of the push-up in the 45 pounds. I'm still on 45 pounds. By the way, today I'm going to do push-ups again and again just with 45 pounds because I find ways to make it difficult. Now, what is a way to make it difficult? I've already said it. The best way for you to make it difficult right now is to actually add paused reps at the bottom. Because the moment when you go down on a certain type of exercise, let's say the bench press, right? And you've been doing bench press. For all the weightlifters, they've been doing bench press. When you let that bar bounce on your chest and you push it back up, it's easier, right? Same thing with push-ups. When you go down pretty quickly and you push immediately back up, most of y'all can do a push-up like that. But if you go down very, very slow and you stretch your chest out to the max and you hold it right there for like a solid 2 seconds, feel that stretch, feel your chest just tearing up, and then you squeeze it back together, it becomes way difficult. I can only do like fucking 8 to 10 reps with 45 pounds like that, bro. And every single session, my chest is sore once again. Why? Because I changed the variation with less weight. That is it. After I'm basically fully comfortable with everything that I've tried out to increase the difficulty of it, then I will add some weight. I will add 22 pounds, right? And then I will fucking focus as hard as I can with a 45 pound weight vest, 22 pound plate. And then I will do the exact same process I did with all these variations that I need to do to be able to get muscle. Also, another thing about getting consistent with variations is that it actually prevents injury. When you're doing the same thing over and over again, the same type of exercise, the same grip, the same length of exercise, everything the same, your joints are going to be beat up after a little while. So you want to be actually doing different type of things when it comes to variation. Still the same exercise, but when it comes to variation within the exercise, because it's going to be helping you to progress quicker, because you're not going to get injured this way. You're also going to be progressing quicker when it comes to the overall strength that you're building, because you're letting your muscles get used to all types of new training methods before you actually increase the weight. And once you increase the weight, you're probably going to make a big jump in weight. You're probably going to make big jump in progresses. You're probably going to make a huge jump in your weight progress that you have never experienced before, because you just always relied on adding a little bit of weight every week. Fucking phenomenal way of doing this. I teach this in the calisthenics course. So go and learn right now before you actually get into it. Now, let's get into the next topic. Intensity matters over weight and reps. Imagine this real quick, right? Let's say you have this guy right here, this athlete who focuses on weight and reps a lot. He just basically focuses on doing the reps and sets correctly, doing everything. He's basically overanalyzing how many reps he should do, how many weight he should use, how many sets he should do. And he's only focusing on trying to progress that. And that is how he trains hard. And then there's this guy who focuses, of course, on reps and sets because he got to log his training, but he also focuses on intensity. And that is actually the first thing he focuses on before he focuses on anything else. It's intensity. If you're a natural athlete, you will be making more progress if you follow this guy's advice, who is first focusing on intensity and then actually the reps and the sets and all that other shit. Why is that so effective? Intensity is one of the most important things that a natural athlete should focus on. Your muscles get used to things and used to certain overloads and certain methods of training very quickly. So you have to train hard. Most of y'all do not train hard at all. Why is that? Because it's fucking difficult. Most of y'all think that you're training hard because you're adding reps, you're adding overload, you're adding progressive overload every week. Oh, you're doing your little routine. Fucking great if you're doing your routine. But if there's no intensity added to it, you're still going to make way slower progress to the guy who is doing the exact same thing as you plus intensity, or even less good of a program with intensity. Intensity is very, very crucial that you get that under control. Intensity training is a skill. Intensity training is a fucking skill. You need to learn how to train hard. It's very difficult if you actually have never done this before and you haven't trained hard, like really before in your life. It's very difficult. Training hard is not just adding overload every single week. It's actually asking every single little thing that you can get out of your muscles in a single set. The motto that Matthijs and I always use, my friend and I, that we always train to, a lot of times we train together during the week, right? What we always say to each other, I want you to look like a beginner this set. What do we mean with that is, I want to train so hard in this set to the point where I look like someone who hasn't been doing this at all, right? You want to be basically looking like this is your first time doing this. You're struggling, you're fucking moving and shit when you're doing your pull-up or doing your push-up, you're fucking shaking. You want to look like a beginner. That is when you train hard. So what is training hard in my definition is, first of all, knowing how to train to failure. It's very simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. It's really not complicated. Learning how to train to failure is actually quite hard, but it's a very simple concept. Training to failure basically means that you do not have any more reps left in the tank. And even after you have no longer gotten any reps in the tank, you still try one more, but you fail. And that's called failure. You need to get to failure in order to fucking succeed, you bitch. You're lazy. You training like a little kid. Failure training is the only thing that you should do as a natural athlete if you want to actually build muscle. If you want to build strength, different story. But if you want to build muscle and you actually want to gain fucking mass, what are you doing with 3 reps in reserve? If you were a street lifter, I used to do this. It's very fucking smart that you focus on that type of shit. You do not want to be going to failure every single street lifting strength set. But if you're actually concerned right now on, I'm skinny right now, so I'm trying to build some muscle. Stop focusing on 2 reps in reserve. Oh, I got to leave some reps in the tank. Are you serious? How old are you, bro? You're probably 20 plus, right? You're probably like in between 18 and 25. So if you're right now still scared to train to failure, you're a little pussy. So get that out of your mind and actually start training until you can no longer do a single rep. That's what you want to be feeling like. You want to be focusing on doing a push-up, for instance, but you can no longer do the push-up. It sounds very simple. It's like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, but most of y'all don't do it. Most of y'all are too scared for that. So once you have achieved failure, what should happen after that? Is that the end? Most of the time, yeah, it's fine. That's actually the end, right? Especially if you're doing very heavy exercises such as heavy weighted push-ups, heavy weighted pull-ups. Once you have gotten to failure, fine. You do no longer need to add more intensity techniques. But when do you need to add intensity techniques? In my opinion, on every single exercise. Let's say you have been doing 4 sets of weighted push-ups. You did every single one of them to failure. Good fucking job. But last set or last 2 sets, you want to get even more out of your muscles. Now, how do you do that? Very simple. You literally say to yourself, even when I already hit failure, try to do full reps after that. You might say right now, I can't do full reps because I already hit failure, bro. You know what that's called? It's called a partial rep. It's called a lengthened partial rep. One of the most effective intensity techniques to actually use to gain more muscle. Most of y'all don't do this shit because it hurts too bad. I understand, bro. I'm not blaming you. It hurts me. It hurts everyone, right? But you have to push past that pain barrier. So a intensity technique should only be used after you have already hit failure. And especially when it comes to lengthened partials, you should use lengthened partials in a way of trying a full rep, but because you have already done failure on your full reps, you can no longer get full reps. Partial reps should not be just these short reps, right? Oh, yo, bro, do partial reps. Okay, bet. And they're gonna do these short ass fucking bro reps? Nah, that's not what I want you to do. Partial reps should be full attempted reps or attempted full reps. So basically trying to go for a full rep, you're going to go up as far as you can. And the moment you can no longer go up again, that's the partial that's completed. That's it. Very simple. Same thing when it comes to an isometric hold. It's not about doing the isometric hold when you still have 2 reps in reserve. That doesn't make any fucking sense. You want to do isometric holds once you have already hit failure on full reps, partial reps, and then you're going to be doing your isometric holds. So let's say on a push-up, again, push-up is the easiest example, right? You're going to be doing push-ups, boom, you've been doing full reps, 12 in total, boom, failure. You can no longer do it. Now partials, you're going to just attempt to do full reps, but because you have already hit failure, you can't do those. So you're going to just keep going. The moment you have hit failure on your partial reps, you are going to now just hold the position on the bottom where you can hold that stretch for the longest. This is how you fucking maximize your gains in a set. Stop just going to a very grindy set and just letting go of the bar or the rings or whatever type of exercise you're doing. Stop doing that shit. You want to be pushing it out. And the moment you say, okay, right now I'm going to probably fail, you go down, you try again, boom, you failed, right? You can't complete it. Then try to do full reps again, partials. Then isometric hold on top of that shit. The moment where you can no longer, where you just drop down on the ground, basically. The moment you have done that, that is when you can say to yourself, fuck yeah, I did it. This is what you want to fucking do, bro. It is amazing how this shit works, but you're going to gain so much more muscle if you actually get the hang of training hard. That's probably the most valuable thing that I could give to you right now, especially if you're natural. If you have been taking steroids, don't listen to this shit. You can get away with anything, but you're a fucking pussy as well. But if you are right now not on steroids, and you want to get the most out of your natural potential, which I understand, good job. Do what the fuck I'm saying right here, because you're going to gain so much progress you wouldn't even believe. So again, guys, thank you for watching. Again, go to the top link in the description. Join my Jacked by Calisthenics course, and I will teach you everything you need to know in detail about this. We're going to create a routine together. You're going to be having a community as well where you can chat with people. And you're going to be having 3 total different workout programs that you can just follow or take workouts from. With that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And as always, make the sacrifice and stay resilient.